She invited them to lunch. She cooked. She served individual portions of beef Wellington at her dining table in a small town in Victoria, Australia. Then she sat down and ate with them. 3 of her 4 guests began dying within hours. Their organs shut down one by one over the following days as the toxin worked through their systems, a process that is slow, agonizing, and medically almost impossible to reverse once it has begun. Erin Patterson watched all of this happen. She visited them in hospital. She cried. She told police she had no idea what had gone wrong. She told them she had accidentally mixed foraged mushrooms with store-bought ones, and that the poisoning was a terrible tragedy. And then investigators discovered that she had secretly thrown a food dehydrator, the kind used to dry foraged mushrooms, into a rubbish skip in the days before she reported the deaths to authorities. She had bought it with cash. She disposed of it when she thought no one was watching. And she had not invited her estranged husband to the lunch, even though it was his parents and his aunt and uncle who were dying at the table. Before we go any further into what happened, I want to tell you about the people who came to that lunch. Because in a case that has generated enormous global attention, the victims have sometimes become secondary to the story of the woman who killed them. Patterson was 70 years old, a retired teacher, deeply religious, kind, and generous by every account of everyone who knew him. Gail Patterson was 70 years old, his wife, devoted and warm, described by her children as the quiet center of the family. Heather Wilkinson was 66, Gail's sister, a woman her friends described as someone who lit up every room she walked into. Her husband, Ian Wilkinson, was 68, a retired Baptist pastor who had been married to Heather for 44 years. These 4 people had been good to Erin Patterson. They had supported her through a difficult marriage to their son and nephew. They had maintained a relationship with her after the marriage ended. They had helped her with her children. And when she called and told them she had something to tell them, something important about her health, they came. They drove to Leongatha. They sat at her table. They ate what she put in front of them. Prosecutors later alleged she had lied about having a terminal illness to ensure they attended the lunch. All 4 of them trusted her completely. 3 of them were dead within a week. Ian Wilkinson spent weeks in intensive care. He was the only one who survived. His wife of 44 years died. He has spoken publicly about her in the time since, about what she was like, about what she meant to him. I find it very hard to write about Ian Wilkinson without stopping. He went to a lunch at a relative's house and came home alone. After 44 years. That is what was taken from him at a dining table in Leongatha on a Saturday in July 2023. To understand what happened to those 4 people, you need to understand what a death cap mushroom actually does to a human body. Amanita phalloides, the death cap, is responsible for the majority of fatal mushroom poisonings worldwide. It is, by weight, one of the most toxic naturally occurring substances on Earth. It contains a group of toxins called amatoxins, specifically alpha-amanitin, which work by binding to and inhibiting an enzyme essential for producing proteins in human cells. Every cell in the body needs this enzyme to function. When it is blocked, cells begin to die. The liver and kidneys are the first organs to fail. The organs responsible for filtering the toxin from the body are the ones the toxin destroys first. The process takes days. The initial symptoms, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, appear within 6 to 24 hours and then appear to resolve. There is a deceptive period of apparent recovery, sometimes lasting a full day, during which the patient feels better. Then organ failure begins. By the time the full impact of amatoxin poisoning becomes medically apparent, the window for effective intervention is usually already closed. There is no antidote. The only treatment options are aggressive medical support and in severe cases, liver transplant, a procedure that carries its own profound risks. A death cap mushroom can be picked wild in Victoria, Australia, particularly around European oak trees where the fungus grows. It can look similar to edible varieties. It smells pleasant. It tastes reportedly quite good. It is possible, entirely possible, to accidentally pick one alongside edible mushrooms. The question the jury had to answer was whether Erin Patterson did so accidentally. And after 6 days of deliberation, they said no. On Saturday, July 29, 2023, Don and Gail Patterson and Ian and Heather Wilkinson drove to Erin Patterson's home in Leongatha, a small rural town in Gippsland, Victoria, about 130 kilometers southeast of Melbourne. Erin's estranged husband Simon had been invited. He did not attend, something he had mentioned to Erin beforehand. She served individual portions of beef Wellington. The pastry dish contained, according to forensic analysis, death cap mushroom fragments. The prosecution argued she had cooked the individual portions deliberately, portioning them carefully so that she herself would not consume the mushrooms. She ate at the table with her guests. She did not become ill. The guests began experiencing symptoms: nausea, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, within hours of leaving. By the following day, all 4 had been hospitalized. Don Patterson died on August 4th. Gail Patterson died on August 5th. Heather Wilkinson died on August 6th. Ian Wilkinson spent weeks in intensive care and survived, eventually undergoing a liver transplant. Erin Patterson had called emergency services on August 4th, the day Don died, to report that her guests had fallen ill after eating at her home. It was 5 days after the lunch. By then, 3 of them were already in critical condition. Simon Patterson was invited but did not attend. He was the one person at that table who would have changed the dynamic entirely, the estranged husband in the middle of a difficult separation. The person the prosecution argued was connected to Erin's motive. He did not go. He told the court he had prior commitments. His parents went in his place. This is the detail that sits at the center of everything. Was Simon the intended target, or were his parents always the point? The prosecution did not assert a specific motive. The judge confirmed that is not legally required for a murder conviction. But the question stays: why those 4 people? Why that day? Why individual portions? Why the dehydrator in the skip? The investigation into Erin Patterson began as the hospital deaths were being reported. Toxicology confirmed death cap mushroom poisoning across all 4 patients. Police began examining Patterson's movements before and after the lunch. What they found built a circumstantial case of extraordinary detail. First, the dehydrator. A food dehydrator, used to dry and concentrate foraged mushrooms, had been purchased by Patterson with cash before the lunch. In the days between the lunch and her call to emergency services, she had placed that dehydrator in a rubbish skip. Police retrieved it. Forensic analysis found mushroom residue consistent with death cap fungi. Second, her own immunity. Patterson ate at the same table and consumed the same meal as her guests, according to her own account. Yet she experienced no symptoms at all. The prosecution argued this was because she had portioned the beef Wellingtons individually, giving her guests portions containing death cap mushroom and keeping her own portion free of it. Third, the foraging history. Evidence emerged that Patterson had been foraging for mushrooms in the months before the lunch, including in areas where death cap mushrooms grow near European oak trees in Victoria. The prosecution presented its case that she had complete control over the ingredients that went into each meal portion served to her guests. Fourth, the lie about illness. Prosecutors alleged Patterson had told her guests she had a terminal illness to ensure they attended the lunch. a claim she denied. Fifth, the text messages. Digital evidence showed Patterson's phone activity in the period surrounding the lunch, including searches that the prosecution argued demonstrated awareness and intent. She maintained throughout the trial that every single piece of evidence had an innocent explanation. The trial of Erin Patterson opened in the Victorian Supreme Court, sitting in Morwell in 2025. 9 weeks of evidence, expert testimony, and one of the most closely watched criminal proceedings in Australian legal history. Patterson took the witness stand herself, an unusual and high-risk decision in a murder trial. She maintained her innocence across days of cross-examination. She told the court she had accidentally mixed foraged mushrooms with store-bought ones, that she had no idea the death caps were in the meal, that she was devastated by what had happened to her guests and to her children's grandparents. The prosecution, led by Nanette Rogers, methodically dismantled each element of her account. Rogers told the jury, "You don't have to know why a person does something in order to know they did it." The defense argued that the prosecution had cherry-picked evidence and ignored alternative explanations. The jury deliberated for 6.5 days. On July 7, 2025, they returned a unanimous verdict on all counts. Guilty of murder on 3 counts. Guilty of attempted murder on 1 count. Patterson showed no emotion as the verdicts were read. She blinked rapidly. She said nothing. On September 8, 2025, Justice Christopher Beale sentenced her to 3 life sentences with a non-parole period of 33 years. He told the court, "Your victims were all your relatives by marriage. More than that, they had all been good to you and your children over many years, as you acknowledged in your testimony." She will be 82 years old before she can apply for parole. She kept her eyes closed for most of the sentencing hearing. In November 2025, Erin Patterson filed an appeal against her convictions and her 33-year non-parole period. Her lawyers have not yet disclosed the legal grounds of the appeal. Separately, Victoria's Director of Public Prosecutions filed its own appeal, arguing the sentence is manifestly inadequate and that she should never be considered for parole. Both appeals are expected to be heard together in 2026. The case that gripped Australia for 2 years and spawned podcasts, international news coverage, and global fascination is not over. The question of whether Erin Patterson will ever explain what actually happened at that table in Leongatha remains unanswered. She has maintained her innocence throughout. She has given no indication of what she will say in an appellate court. She has never, in any public statement or court testimony, acknowledged that she knew what was in that beef Wellington. Dawn Patterson, Gail Patterson, Heather Wilkinson, 3 people who had lunch with someone they trusted. They never came home. I keep coming back to one image in this case. A dining table in a country town. Set for lunch. 4 people who trusted the person who invited them. Individual portions of beef Wellington. And a woman who sat across from them and ate her own serving and watched. Whatever Erin Patterson knew or did not know at that table, and a jury of 12 Australians has delivered their verdict on that question. 3 people are gone. Ian Wilkinson lost his wife of 44 years at a lunch table. Dawn and Gail Patterson's children lost both their parents the same week. The appeals are coming. The case continues. But some things do not wait for courts to resolve them. Dawn Patterson, Gail Patterson, Heather Wilkinson, they deserve to go home. Subscribe to Vault of Crime, new case every week. The stories that deserve more than a headline. We will see you in the next one.